in the last lecture, we have discussed about the assignment activity task 1. Today, we will cover some leftover topics of previous 2 chapters. So, let's get started. So, as we discussed earlier, that how programming languages are using in different fields, just like in manufacturing, production, or engineering. So, we will discuss some of examples here. Like the first and the most common example is the automation and control system. So I think I have discussed automation earlier. If not, I give you a brief overview that automation refers to a task that you do uh, on daily basis. Like if you are in a educational institute, your attendance is recorded on daily basis. So it is a task that is done on daily basis. So it can be a repetitive task. So what a programming language can do, the attendance that is taken manually by the teachers, we can create a system that can record the student attendance automatically by itself on daily basis. This is called automation. So we can say that uh, programming languages, the one of the most and foremost benefit of using programming languages that they are used for making automations and control system. Then the second one is process optimization. Means it create algorithms. Now, what is algorithm? Like we have created some coding examples or some programming examples before. So you can say that algorithm is a step before uh, before that coding process. Like we write a program of adding two numbers. Now, what will the steps of writing that program was? What was that? We enter two variables, then we do the sum logic, and then we produce that output. So this is called the algorithm, a step-by-step procedure, and then we move towards the program. So in process optimization, this programming allows to create that algorithms just to reduce waste and increase throughput. Just like, for example, if you are working in a retail store, so if you have to sum up all the bill items of a customer manually by yourself, it may take a lot of time. But if the same thing is done by a program, it might take only some seconds. We have seen when we were studying loop that when we create a program of calculating a table, it only takes few seconds to develop a table of any number. So the in process optimization, it is optimizing means reducing our time and increasing our production. So in the field of engineering or in the field of business, they are used to create models just to see what will happen. Just like if you have seen some simulation examples, some simulation models that in many different businesses they show that means whenever they present a project, they show that our project will do this after the completion. Means through visualization, they give you an idea. So this is what a programming language can do. It can create a simulation model for itself. Then communication and integration. One of the best example of communication is different social media application. Most commonly, the Zoom application means all these platforms are created somehow by using a programming language. The first step of creating these languages was always everything is done in a code. If we go on any website, we can see that we can find out in on which code they have written. If I show you an example here, I'm sharing my new screen with you. Here it is a website. If we want to see in which programming language it is written, we will just go and click on this inspect button. And after some times, look, it will show us that the front end of this language, this site is written in HTML. The front end, the HTML is a basic front end markup language, which is used to write web pages. So it is a website that provides us the online compiler. So after clicking on this inspect button, we can see in which language it is written. So we can say every social media application or other applications, everything is relayed on programming or scripting languages. So communication or integration means this allows us to programming language. In other words, we can say allow us to communicate throughout the world. Then there are some of the features of programming environment. As we discussed that we were coding on C++. So what will be their features? Like the first one is refactoring. Refactoring means optimizing the code. If we do with an example here, okay, I am initializing two variables. Then I am just simply, okay, just leave it behind instead of just, it is a program, a simple program. I think we have done this before. I am just requesting user to enter two numbers, and then on the basis of two numbers, this program will generate this sum of that two numbers. So just to explain the concept of factoring, I am taking this simple example. Then what we will do? Then it will sum these two numbers and it will store the result in the sum variable. And then it will print the sum like this. Then our program is completed. Let's run this. I think somewhere a colon is missing. Now it's perfect. Okay, I entered 3 and 4. No, what's the matter? I think it's an online compiler, so that's why it's not generating the right output. So what the factoring will do, as we seen that, let me explain you here. I write sum here. After writing sum here, it will also give you an output. But instead of this, I can also remove these two lines and I can also do this. Instead of storing the result in sum, I can also write a plus b here directly. So this is what refactoring do. It will provide you another way of doing the same thing, just to reduce the length of our code. So this was the example of factoring, that instead of doing the same thing with a lengthy code, you can just do the same thing with another way. So let's move forward. So there are different tools and different IDs. Like in C++, we have seen that there are different tools will be available, that you can there are extract method or functions. Like we have studied function. If there is a larger method or a function of doing something, then you can use a smaller function to do that. Then you can rename or change the name of the variables, as we seen in the example. Instead of printing the result with the sum, I directly wrote a plus b in the for getting that output. So these are some smaller techniques by which you can refactor your code. Means you can just reduce the length of your code by using these examples. Then there is an exact class. It is a concept of object oriented programming, which we will study in in coming lectures, that what is OOP, and then we will get know about what are classes and what are objects. In simple words, what a refactoring can do, it will reduce the length of your code. Then version control. So there are different programming languages that provide us the ability to control the version of our program. For example, in future, if you have write a program and you want to launch that program in the form of your application like website or app, and you create versions of that, like you just do some updates, and after getting some updates, you just uh, create versions after years or months. So this programming environments will allow you to control the versions of your whatever it is, any application or it is any site, whatever it is. Then it allows use to collaborative development. Means you can allow multiple developers. Like collaborative development means you can allow your team members to work with you. Like there are different softwares like Teamweaver or any Dix that will allow you to get access the other person's system. So in this way, you can work with other peoples on the same project at the same time. So this is also a feature of a programming environment that allows you to control the version. Then debugging. I think I have just mentioned debugging, that what the debugging will do, it will just provide you, compile your code, and if there is any error, it will give you an error message. Like in the previous example, when we were just writing the code of summing up two numbers, I have forgotten to put a semicolon on a single line. It gave me an error message and show me that you have an error, and uh, just remove this error, and after removing that, the program will execute. So this was the example of debugging. Means whether it is a online compiler or any IDE, it will allows you to it will debug your code, whether it is line by line or whether it may compile it as a whole. So it will compile it and give you error message. Like if I show you again, helps to debug the code. Like I think didn't put a semicolon here, just like this. So, and this is a debugger. Whenever you click this run button or the green button in the C35 IDE, it will debug your code. What is debugging? The process of finding and removing that error. Look, when I click this button, it gives me an error and shows that there is expected a semicolon before return. Means return is written here, and before return you have to put a semicolon. Means it is a debugger that finds, that compiles or check my whole program, and if there is any error, it will give me an error message. So if I just remove this int from here, let's see what happened. And it is just throwing error that in the function int main, a was not declared. Why? Because I didn't put their data type here. So this is what a debugger will do. It is the feature of a programming environment or IDE that uh, it helps you to find the errors and give you hints that on that line there is an error and you have to remove that. Then code search, find and locate. What it will do? It will help you to find a, if you want to go to any line, if you have write a lengthy code. Let's see with some examples what this your IDE will do. If you have written a very lengthy code and you want to find a specific line in your project, so these IDEs will allows you to find that code, and it will allows you to search or locate that code. So we will see with an example. So what are find, search and do done in an IDE. So it's loading and it is visual programming. So what a visual programming do means there are different platforms, like there is WordPress, or you can say there is Canva. If someone is doing graphic designing, so there are different softwares that allows you to generate codes like WordPress or Shopify is the most common example. Like if you want to create a website or you don't know how to code, then you can use that softwares or builders to generate a website just without doing some coding, and it will generate your website by clicking on some icons or by clicking somewhere. So if, for example, if there is, it is an IDE and you can see it is a very lengthy code, and if I want to find or search something, so these will provide us different searching options just to go and search. Like if I want to find somewhere, so I will click and all the coding breakpoints. So these are called the breakpoints. If you click any of them, you can go on that side. So this is also a feature of a programming environment. So this is another IDE. So if you click any of these breakpoints, you can go anywhere. So this is an example of find and search. Like if I want to find something I have written, I will click on one of the breakpoint and this will locate me there. Is also a benefit of using a programming environment that if we write a lengthy code, it will take us there. So then the next is visual programming. So as I mentioned that if you don't know how to write a program, there are different builders like available. Just like if I give you an example of WordPress, as I mentioned that if you want to create a website and you don't know how to use, or then what you will do, this application will allows you to just by drag and drop the items, you can create an interface. So it will provide you graphical representations, means using icons, nodes, diagrams. What you can do, you can just create a website. So if we see some examples of it, like here, if we find search about WordPress or like Bootstrap, see it is the most popular library. Here, by just drag and drop, this will provide you the code of doing everything. Like here, if you want to write a button, create a button, and you don't know how to create, look, if you, for example, if you want to create such kind of interface, you can just go and copy this code. There are many other websites. This is called visual programming. Means just by drag and drop or just by grabbing some points, you can create effects. You can just go and just, if you don't know nothing, like I want to do, create something like this, I will just copy this and just paste in my IDE, and it will create automatically. So there are different themes available. Like here, look, if you want to create any theme like this, means if you want to create a theme website, look, just by clicking on them, you can create that theme. See, there are different themes available. So these are different builders that allows you to do programming if you don't know about it, just by copy pasting or by dragging some icons there. So this is called the visual program. Then the next thing is, means there are some examples of visual programming environment like Scratch. It is also a visual programming environment where you can create stories, games, animations just by dragging and drop. Then there is LabVIEW, then there is Blocky. So these are all different sites. You can go and visit them and know about them. This will allow you to create a programming site, stories, games, whatever you want, just by dragging and dropping the items or just by graphically clicking on them. Then the next thing is the language support. So there are different IDEs that support various languages. Like if we talk about Visual Studio Code, so I show you it. So it is an IDE that allows you, whether you want to write a code into C++, whether you want to write a code in HTML, Java, sorry, not in Java, in Python, whatever you want, this will allow you to write in any of the language. As in the recent lectures, we have studied about C Free 5, but if you want to use this, there are different extensions available by just clicking on them. If I write C++, it will give you different C extensions. Or if I write Python here, so it will give you different Python's IDE that you can go and do coding in Python. If I write Java here, so it will allow me to write the code in Java. So it will give you debuggers, extensions to write different code in different languages. So it is the ability or a feature of our different IDEs like Visual Studio, like CDT code or blocks. There are different C++ IDEs which suppose multiple languages. Like you can just go and you can do uh, codings in different languages. So the next thing is how we can do string operations. In the recent lectures, we have seen this. Like in recent lectures, we have just seen how we can just input a single variable, a single letter from the user. So, but in today's lecture, we will see how to print a complete string from the user. Like what a string is, it is a string, enter two numbers. It is a complete string. But you will say that it is also giving us the output. The thing is, this program is not allowing us to enter a string from a user. It is just displaying the output. So what a string data type will do, it will allows you to input a string from the user. Now, how it will happen and how it will do that? So let's see this first. So first, you have to include a library, just like we have studied about hash include. You have to include a library of a string here. You have to write hash include string. After writing this, the editor or compiler will know that you have to do some string operations. Means you have to enter uh, IDE from the user, or you have to just write something from the user. Then you have to uh, initialize a variable like string or my string. Like we use int instead of you can say for integers we use int, and for float decimal numbers we use float, and for string I will write string here like this, and we will give the name of the variable my string like this. Then this is the first step. We have done the initialization. So after initialization, what you have to do? You have to write input statement. Means you will write cout, enter a string, and then it will enter, or you will write str or string string, whatever you want to write. Then you will just give the output statement here, and it will give you the output. So these are some basic steps. We will see whether it will give us the output or not. So then by clicking the run button, it will just compile, and so hello, we will write a simple statement here. It is not giving us output because it is an online compiler. So in the next lecture, we will done on C35 so that it give us some output. But the method of doing this is just the same. First, you have to include the input library, string library like this. Then you will initialize it by naming some variable. Then you will ask the user to enter a string or number, and then you will just generate its output. In this way, in the next session, we will see the working examples on the ID, on a different ID, so that we will able to generate some output. So this is how our string operation is performed. Clear? So the next thing is we have studied about if statement. So what the if statement was doing, like on the basis of condition, we were generating it. But now in today's lecture, we will see what our nested if else will do. So what we were supposed to doing in if statement, that we were generating a condition, and then on the basis of that condition, we were getting the output. But in today's lecture, we will see what the if else statement will do. Let's see with an example. Here it is a program which will enter the age of the person, and enter and asks the person if he or she have a driving license. So then if the person will age will be greater than 18, the program will gives the output that you are eligible for to apply for a driving license. And if not, then and if you are less than 18, then you will say that you are not eligible for a driving license. So where the nested if is happen, like here, if you give focus on this. If this statement is true, then this block of code will execute. Else, this block of code will execute. So let's see. Let's, for example, we say that the person is greater than 18. Yes, the person is 18. This will execute. You are eligible for applying for a driving license. Then another if means after exec, if this is true, then it will jump to this inner if, that if it has a driving license. If yes, then the program will execute like you have already a driving license. Or if somebody says that uh, you have not a driving license, then this block of code will execute it. So you can see there is a nested if. If this if is executed, then this if will execute it automatically. And what if this is not true? Like if the age of the person is less than, then this whole code will not execute, only this else part will execute, and it will print that you are not eligible to apply for a driving license yet. Means this is nested if, means if inside the another if. We will see the working example with the real world example in the next session using the physical IDE. For now, I am just giving the basic concept of what is the if else statement and how it works. So you can see that how a if statement, if else statement is worked with a nested statement. Then we have studied about while loop. The while loop is also called a entry control loop. In the previous lectures, we have studied about different loops. Like we have seen for loop, we have seen while loop and do while loop. So another name of a while loop is a entry control loop. So if I say what is the difference between a while loop and for loop, for example, you don't know how many times a statement have to execute, then we will use the while loop. And if you know that you know how many times a condition is going to be execute, then we will execute the for loop. So the while loop is also called the entry control loop. Means you are controlling the entry of a coming variable. As I said that we will do the same example using editor. Last time we have done some coding examples or programming examples using C free 5. Uh, today we will use div C plus plus. This is another IDE that allows you to do the same thing that we were doing in C free 5. So let's see some example of if nested. So what a nested if else will do, if a condition is true, then it is going to execute it, the inner if. So we will make some real world scenarios and understand the working of if else statement by using them. If you have any scenario in your mind, let me know and I will write a program according to that. Otherwise, I will use my own scenarios to write that. So we will write using a real world scenario, like with some real world examples. We will calculate that if else statement. Like we will input a number and it's even or odd we have already seen. And like we will write a program that will input the test score of a student and display the grade according to it. So it will be give us the example of nested if else. Or what we will do, we can input a radius and user choice, and it will calculate the area. We have also seen that. So let's take a smaller example. So what we will do, we will write a program that will input three numbers and display whether these numbers are equal or not by using the nested if conditions. Clear? So let's execute that. So first of all, we will initialize some variables here. So we input three variables and check whether they are equal to each other or not. We will say, let's give them name A, B, and C. Then what we'll do, we will ask the user to enter the three numbers. The user will enter three numbers. C in, we will write A. We have asked the user to enter three numbers. Then we will say if A is equals to B, means we have applied the condition. If A is equals to B, then check if A is also equals to, and if both conditions are true, you will do C out. All the numbers are equal, like this. Then, if not, then the else statement will execute. Else, here in the nested if, you will write a else statement. See out, numbers are different, like this. So it was the part of the nested if. And let's write the outer if else statement. Then I will explain this to you. Then in the else statement, you will also write. So it say that there is expected semicolon somewhere. So I think on the line number 3, where I haven't put a semicolon. I think there is semicolon missing somewhere. Here. Here I just mistakenly write this semicolon. It should be here outside. Now it is fine. Now I will enter the three numbers, 3, 7, enter. The numbers are not equal. Means now, see, the numbers are not equal, so it is giving me this output. Now let's type the numbers that are equal with each other. Like I will enter 3, then 3, then 3. All the numbers are equal. So, let me explain you this. So what the if else statement will do, if this if condition is true, this one, then it will enter to another if. Like if I say A is equals to B, we have entered three numbers like 5 for A, and let's suppose for B we also enter 5. So it will check if A is equals to B. If yes, then it will go to this inner if, this one, this inner if, and it will check if A is equals to C. Let's suppose A is equals to 5 and B is also equals to 5. We just entered, right? And we say that C is also equals to 5. So it will check if C is also equals to 5, A is also equals to C. If yes, then it will execute this. If not, then it will say the numbers are different. Let's suppose, for example, first if it check A is equals to B. Now this time if I say A is equals to 5, but B is equals to 1. So it will check if 5 is equals to 1. No. The condition becomes false. Then it will execute that the numbers are not equal. Clear? Then it will say that the numbers are not equal. It will execute this statement. So else statement will only execute in this condition. The nested if is only executing this condition if this outer if is true. If the outer if is false, then it is going to execute this else part. But if this is true, then it will execute these two statements. Now let's see again. Let me remove this first. If I compile and execute it again, I will enter the three numbers. Like for A, I am going to enter 3. Like for B, I am again going to enter 3. And but for C, I will enter 5. See, it will print that numbers are different. It check the condition A is equals to B. This one. Here, this one. A is equals to B. It sees that 3 is equals to 3. It comes here. But A was not equals to C, so it execute this. Now this time, what I will change the condition. For A, I am going to enter 2. For B, I will enter 4, and for C, 5. So you will see the numbers are not equal. This time, instead of this, the number are different. It execute this. The numbers are not equal. Why? Because the outer if becomes false. In the previous example where 3 is equals to 3, the outer if was true and it jumped here in the inner if statement. But now, when the outer if is false, it will execute this. So in summary, we say that the nested if, this nested if is only executed if this outer if is true. So if the outer if is false, it will not execute this. Any questions till now related to nested if, or should I do some more examples related to this new concept? Should I perform more examples related to the nested if, or it is understandable to you? Yes, I can do one more. So let's take another new scenario. Now this time, what I will write a program that inputs 3 number and display the maximum number. Okay, but with the help of using nested if and the logical operators, we will do. Should we take a common example instead of this complex one? Uh, let's remove this first. So here we say, uh, we will enter the age of an individual, and if the individual is the age of the individual is greater than 18, we will say that he is eligible to vote, or he or she can vote. But if he or she is less than 18, we will say that he cannot vote. And for the nested if, we will say that if he has already voted or not. So this is a scenario we are going to build. For age, we will input our age variable, or for checking if it has, you can say if he has cast a vote or not, we will use bool. It is also a data type that returns us true or false value. Has vote. We will just name this variable. So we have initialized two variables. Second step, we will ask the user to enter the age. Okay, we will check enter the age of the. So now we have entered the age and have asked the user whether he have already cast the vote or not. Then here, if the age is greater than 18, I will ask if he has voted or not. I will write this. Then if it will be true, I will write C out. You have that. If it has not casted the vote, we will write else. And if it is not of 18 in the outer if, we will write C out. Now, where I have not put the semicolon here. So this is how we were talking about the debugging. This is how a debugging is done and how the compiler told you about different error. Now this time there is no error finally. So I will enter the age 23. Uh, have you already casted the vote? If I say no, then uh, the output is you can vote. So now this time what I will do, I will enter the age 12. So have you casted the vote? I'll say no. Sorry, you are under 18. So let me explain how this works. Here you can see that it is entering the user age and have it is does it cast the vote or not.